Hello.
Hi.
My name is Dr. Marjorie Miles, and I am just delighted to welcome you to our festival and to let you know that I am the other half of Muse and Ink. That's Heather. She's Ink over there. And I also wanted to introduce my book to you, Healing Haikus. And Healing Haikus is actually a memoir. And it's a memoir that talks about how a poetry muse helped me survive cancer and reclaim my creative expression. So I'm going to start with chapter 1. Listening to my inner voice. You talking to me? In June 2010, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. I had surgery to remove the lower portion of my left lung, followed by chemotherapy and radiation. It was during the final phase of my treatment, radiation, when something unexpected happened. While waiting in my radiologist's office, I began daydreaming in that gauzy, gossamer state of, between wakefulness and sleep. I heard the voice. Simply and clearly it said, "You need to write a poem." You've got to be kidding! This does not feel poetic. Ignoring me, the voice continued. And the poem should be a haiku. A what? I'm not a poet, I grumbled. Yet, I began writing the haiku formula. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the last line. And it found its way to the scrap of paper that I had been holding. Something powerful, mysterious, and incomprehensible had just happened. When my radiologist opened the door and entered the room, he startled me back to full consciousness. He had been detained in a meeting and apologized for arriving late to our appointment. And although I knew he was pressed for time, I felt compelled to tell him. I just wrote a poem about radiation. And I would love to read it to you. Well, imagine how thrilled he was to hear that. After furtively glancing at his watch, he submitted to my request and patiently listened to me read my haiku for the first time. Radiation. Zap! Search and find the mutant cells. Glowing. Going. Gone. Inexplicably, I had found myself performing the haiku with hand gestures, including a loud clap on the very last word. Gone. For what seemed like a very long time, we just stared at one another. Finally, the doctor broke the silence. With a voice filled with emotion, he said, "May I have a copy? I'd love to share this with my other patients." It was during this exchange between my doctor and me that I realized the healing power of poetry. Writing poetry, I concluded, was more than scribbling words on a blank page. A haiku could transform itself into a container for the essence of the human spirit, despite the vulnerability of the body, and communicate that core to another human being. Later that day, I read my poem, hand gestures and all, to my husband, Ben. The words touched him too. "I have an idea," Ben said. "Why not challenge yourself to write 3 haiku daily?" "Okay," I agreed, completely unaware that Ben's suggestion would prove life-altering. Could writing haiku help me make sense out of my cancer experience? Would this help me discover more about the voice and why it chose to speak to me at this time? Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to my reading of Healing Haiku. I'd love to talk to you more about poetry, about writing. In fact, I'd love for you to come to my space, number 20. I have a haiku for you, an original one. So please join me. Thank you.